Hi, my name is Derek, and you may have seen a video where we went through some examples of things that you could do on a statement page within Spiff. And today we're going to be walking you through how to actually make those things within Designer so you can add them to your own statements. So today we're really going to be focusing on three main things that I'll just refresh you on real quick. So the first is, first and foremost, how to get certain attainment percentages and multiple values on a single card or a single actual row type like this. The second is probably just as important, but also showcasing how we're actually going to get emojis onto different places in Attainment, say Emoji Attainment like this, or even above average with a check mark or a red down arrow like we saw last time. And third, we're also just going to be giving you an idea of how you could possibly do, say, forecasting or trends to attainment to goals. So those are kind of the three main things that we're going to be covering today of how you do those in Designer. But for us, let's just jump right in. So if you are here, let's jump into Designer and start kind of giving you an example of how those top three things work. Now, the three main things that you're going to want to know is that primarily the two ways that we did this were A, with concatenation functions, and also with table lookups. Now, those are kind of the two most important pieces that you'll need to know for at least getting an emoji onto a statement card or onto a single line item level. However, the third most important piece that you might want to actually know is how do you get an emoji onto something, and we'll cover that real quickly before we jump into the logic. Now, getting an emoji into Unicode or into any piece that we have within our Designer is as simple as if you have a Mac computer, maybe even if you're on your phone, you actually have the emoji on your keyboard. However, simultaneously, if you wanted to, you can also just Google the emoji you want and copy and paste it in. And third, there are actually emoji keyboard attachments that you can add for Windows, things like that. But there are really three ways of getting your emojis in. Personally, I didn't want to download a keyboard attachment or an add-on, so what I did was I just Googled the emoji I wanted and copy and pasted it in here. So with that out of the way, let's actually jump into how you do things logically. So if we jump to payout rules, the first thing that we wanted to cover is how you get two pieces onto one metric card or onto one line item. So if we jump into font things with our fun little guy and maybe open something like term and type, you'll notice it's as simple as adding a concatenation between the two different fields or two different calculations that you have. In this case, it'd be type, and then we had a little side bracket right here with then total months, giving you new and 12. Now, the one thing to keep in mind about this is that while this shows up very neatly on the statement, it's hard to do logic on. So if you needed something where you wanted to just simply show it to a rep, this is a good way. But if you needed to do additional calculations on this, it's a difficult way to do things. So that, and if we go back one and even wanted to show you quota in percentage, this is more of a gross example of how you could do it, but just know that you can basically make these look as important or as simple as you want with simply concatenation. And I really just wanted it to look a singular way, so that's why I did it with all of these different round numbers, rights, concats, etc. But you don't have to do it this way. It's probably just as simple as doing it the way that we saw before with the term and type like this. Now, if we wanted to say have an emoji onto, say, like we saw before, the place and department, if it's above or below average, those are also just as simple as either adding a concatenation or simply adding quote brackets and then having exactly what you want. So to give you an example of that, let's actually move over to emoji things real fast. Open up my commissionable ARR and add the emoji adjustments. Now from here, there's a couple examples that we can go over. So first of all, the emoji attainment. What we've actually done right here is, again, enough concatenations and rounds to get monthly attainment in the way that we want. But what I've done is actually made a range table of different emoji graphs or emoji pieces that you could have. So this is one way, is looking up attainment values. And if we open up our emoji table, you'll notice it's as simple as getting a range table, upper and lower bounds, and then the emoji in quotes that you want to return in addition to that other piece. So this is one good way of having basically a lookup value for you to have a range of emojis anywhere from, for instance, if you wanted first, second, third place with a gold, bronze, and silver medal, you can have that. But in our case, I just put a couple different emojis of the way that I would feel if I hit those particular attainment values. Now, if we go back to our rules by plan, let's actually go back to emoji adjustments and say, for instance, the place and department. So this is, again, a different example of how I did it. But what I did is I just tried to see what rank my in department I was, and then actually just hard coded this value in. So if I was first, you get a gold medal. Second, I get a silver medal, etc. So as opposed to looking this up with an actual table, what you could do is simply just have it be written out and hard-coded into this. So this is another way that you could have this be within if you didn't want to have a table lookup, and maybe if you wanted this to be a little bit more simple to look at if you're trying to edit this in the future. So again, that's kind of a good way to get emojis in here. And if we open up one last thing, so go back to the emojis and look at deal versus average, I did it the exact same way again. So this is simply using an if function, comparing what our ARR on a particular deal is to the average ARR that we've been selling over month. And if we highlight over this, which is just month to date sales over deals in month. And again, as you'll see, I just hard coded this in directly with these being copied directly from Google, and I just Googled down red arrow and copied that emoji over. Do note that because we use, again, the Unicode standard for text and emojis, anything that you Google on and see as far as emojis on, say, a screen or a search result, as well as anything that you have on your phone. So if you wanted to even message it to yourself, all of those emojis are fully capable of being within the system as well. Now, the last piece is from the last video, is if we open miscellaneous things of, say, forecasting, or am I going to miss my trend? Am I going to hit my attainment goals, etc.? What you can do with that is as simple as, in terms of this, just a linear forecast. So what I've actually done is, with this, I have a current trend attainment, which is total deals per this month, times by the number of days in this month. So I have it as granular as the number of days this month. So you'll notice it's the sum of the deals divided by your quota. So how much you've gone as far as attainment. No, divided by the days since you've started counting, times by the days in the month. So going back to just simple linear forecasting, if you have a certain trend line, if you find the rate, which is the amount that you're earning over the amount of time, and just times it by the total amount of time that you're looking over, whether it be a month or a quota, that gives you your forecasted amount. Now, if you wanted to, similar to what we've seen before, so a simple if function comparing two things, in this case, our quota and the current trending dollars where we're going to, shown with that last calculation that we had before, all I did was hard-coded those pieces in, that you're trending to miss quota, trending above quota, and then additionally with another metric card or another statement card, you could also say, hey, these are the number of dollars that you have to get until you actually meet that attainment goal, or this is how much you need to get to that next goal or rate that you need. But kind of a good example of just basically using concatenations, using tables, or using hard-coded values to get those emojis in here and to make your statement look a little bit more colorful and a little bit more easier to read for your reps, and probably a little bit more unique and fun to look at as well. But again, if there's any other questions of how to do this, or maybe even a particular use case you might have, feel free to reach out to me or your CSM, and otherwise, have a great day. Thanks.